there's a new podcast out on the scene called the Whatever Podcast. And this has just been like the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to clips of women embarrassing themselves online. The next one that we're going to show you just blew up on Twitter, mainly because the woman says like 50 million times in a 1 minute clip. But what she's saying actually holds a lot of importance and is something that I think both Olivia and I wanted to talk about today.
I think like the biggest thing that like annoys me in like the whole dating world is like talking stages. Like that's so annoying. Like the whole like, and just like the inconsistency in them. Like I literally like hate that like so much. But I think that's like my biggest thing. It's just like
what specifically?
Just like the fact of just like you like, I don't know how to word this.
Not the cricket.
Like in like talking stages, and it's just like you're like labeled that, and it's like people like are considered like you can't like, you're just like confused, and like most of the time like the girl gets like attached or something, and they like see it like it's gonna lead to a relationship, and it's always not. And it's just like, that's like my biggest thing is like I just hate the whole like how like talking stages are so like normalized. Like traditional dating does not exist in this generation.
Okay. So one, the reaction to that online was horrible. Somebody please do a wellness check on her, because if I saw the comments that she got, I would literally, I don't know, I would feel horrible. And two, I think every other word was like, but I kind of get what she's saying, that traditional dating doesn't exist anymore. She's expressing her discomfort with this fact. She may not know why it's like this. She may not know if it's her fault, the man's fault. She just knows that this is what it is, and she does not like the talking stage. And for those listening, loosely, the talking stage is defined as the period before you may make a relationship official. But what you do in that period is kind of up to those two people. So it used to just mean literally talking, flirting, maybe go courtship. On a date or two. Yeah, courtship, maybe discuss dating. Now it could mean anything from that to being a friends with benefits type situation and just not putting a label on it.
Which
and
is what it often is.
It's frustrating for a lot of women, and I can see that she's frustrated by it, but she doesn't really understand why. But that's okay.
I think the fact that she can't articulate her feelings about this well says something, right? It means that she knows deep down that something is terribly, terribly wrong with the way dating is nowadays.
Right.
But she hasn't heard it articulated to her, and she hasn't really been able to talk about it with people before.
Right.
That's
like
what it says to
not
me.
every woman has to be a cultural commentator, okay? Not every woman has to. Like, she's clearly not a podcaster. They probably pulled this random Instagram model or this random Twitch streamer or something into the podcast room, and she thought it was fun. And she may have even sounded articulate through the rest of the time, but just that 1 minute clip, she just didn't sound that great.
Very bad for her.
But she makes a good point. And to your point, the fact that she knows deep down inside is just really indicative of the problem, because it's not just cultural commentators. Like, it's not just podcasters who are noticing this stuff. It's people who are out there
regular
in the
people.
dating game who have other interests besides being chronically online like we do. And they still understand that something is wrong.
Yeah, and I've just anecdotally, I know so many women who have been through these talking stages, and it sucks. What she's trying to say here is that it sucks when it ends, and usually it ends because the guy got everything they wanted. The woman asked for a relationship, and because the guy was getting everything he wanted and had to make none of the commitment, he says no, right? And so the woman just ends up not getting the emotional stuff out of a relationship that she needs when she gave up all of the things that the man wanted out of it.
Right. And it's so tricky, because I think a lot of men feel used these days, whether it be for their money or their status or whatever have you. But a lot of women are feeling used because we're getting conflicting messages. Some people, I guess, like certain tenets of society are shaming us into being ashamed of our bodies and not wanting to use our bodies and not wanting to, be sexual. And the other half is saying you don't have any worth as a woman if you're not providing that sexual satisfaction, that sexual gratification.
Because
and
in the
all
marketplace, there are all these women who are willing to do that without commitment. So women that don't want to do it feel pressured. And that's what sucks. That's why I rail so much against hookup culture, because women that don't want to participate in it feel this extreme social pressure to do so. And I do want to say, if a guy is not willing to wait for you, he's not worth it. Point blank, period. He's just not worth it. Because a guy worth his salt will work. He will wait. Period.
And I see horrible comments online. I was just lurking in this Twitter thread yesterday, and it was a woman who had a child, maybe 2. She was probably 30. And she was talking about how she's a Christian religious woman, talking about how her journey through celibacy after going through messy relationship. And the men in the comments were like, "You had 2 children already. You can't be celibate. Like, you owe it to men because you've already let another man give you children, that you cannot value your body again like that. Like, you just have to give it up."
Crack my knuckles real quick.
Like, you already have kids.
For this
you're old. You have no worth on the sexual marketplace. And I'm just like, what if this woman does not want to be on the sexual marketplace?
And you know what? Nobody in the real world uses terms like sexual market value. You need to log off and throw your phone in a trash can. Please.
The men who have wives and healthy, relationships with their girlfriends and spouses and stuff are not online talking about the sexual value of another woman. I would have great issue if my man, and we're in a healthy, like, loving relationship, is online trolling women about, like, "Oh my God, you're like, you have no eggs. Like, your sexual marketplace value is gone." Like, what?
Empty.
Like, what?
Yeah, it's never too late for a woman to start valuing herself again.
Right.
And a good man will come along and see that and will value her. And if he doesn't want 2 kids, then so be it. That doesn't make him a bad man. But I think it's really disingenuous to tell women that you have to continue sleeping around if you've done so before.
They'll shame
ridiculous.
Us. It's like, they'll shame us if we do, or we shame us if we don't. Like, if somebody has reforms from their quote unquote hoe past, they want them to still be a hoe, but they want them to still be a hoe. They think that they're permanently damaged, even though, like, there's no, like, biological, physical damage to this woman. They think that she's permanently damaged goods to, be in the sexual marketplace, I guess, which is, like, fine. Okay, maybe I would be considered damaged goods to the sexual marketplace, but I don't want to be in the sexual marketplace,
Right, I want to stay in my happy relationship. Thank you very much.
It's weird how they treat women who respect themselves.